Hi YouTube, I'm down to my last couple of giant leaf insects of the season. If you have a look at this one up here, you'll see that when it shed its skin, it lost a few limbs and the wing buds didn't develop into full wings. So it looks terrible, but it's laying me just as many eggs as the one behind, which is a perfect specimen. So I don't know why the first one lost any limbs. The whole cage has been kept really humid and everything. Sometimes it just happens and it's a real pain when it does because the insect doesn't look as good. But keep them anyway because like I say, they lay you just as many eggs. Right, here's a whole load of fresh bramble that I've just prepared to go into their cage. I always love it when they've got fresh bramble. Okay, here's a close-up of the perfect specimen just to show you how lovely it is. I'm just going to hang it on this bramble here. You can see I've hung the other one on already. I've already sprayed all this bramble, but I'll spray it again in a second. And this just induces them to feed in the daytime as well. So at this time of their life, these guys are just egg-laying machines, but I'll tell you more about that in a second. This is the water spray that I use. You can see it's really good. It holds like loads of water. The pressure's really good, so you can mist the cage really quite quickly. And I obviously spray the plant, but I also spray the sides of the cage on the glass, and I'll spray the substrate, which is Eco Earth coconut fibre. That's a really good substrate actually for keeping up humidity in the cage. I've also got a heat mat underneath. Because the substrate is damp but also warm, that's what raises the humidity in the cage throughout the whole day. Right, so what I was saying about them being egg-laying machines, these are both females. Males are really rare, and the reason for this is because these guys are parthenogenetic, so the females lay fertile eggs without having to mate with a male. So this is another thing that's really good about this species. Every egg that is laid, you know that it's a fertile egg. And they just hatch out as little miniature replicas of the adults, but lacking the wings. So males, when they do occur, they just look like very small, thin versions of the females. But like I say, this is incredibly rare. Even in the wild, it's very unlikely that anybody will come across a male. Right, so the eggs, I'm just going to show you what they look like to give you an idea. They're actually quite big. Very similar in size, I'd say, to jungle nymph stick insect eggs. Here they are. You can see they've got a very unique kind of shape to them as well. And they just lay them by kind of popping them off into the substrate. They kind of flick them from their abdomens, and so you've got to sort of go around and search for them. And I'm convinced that however many they lay each day depends on how much food they've eaten. So it's really crucial that you feed them really well, give them fresh food all the time at this stage of their life. Okay, I'll show you some close-ups of the eggs that I took under a microscope. You can see they've got all these interesting kind of circular pits in them and lots of interesting ridges and things. So they're a very unique shape egg. And then I just keep them in a similar way to how I keep my stick insect eggs, in an ice cream tub filled with Eco Earth coconut fibre. And you can see here I just press down very carefully some holes into the substrate, and I just drop the eggs in. Once they're all in, then I'll just cover them over as well with a bit of the Eco Earth. And the important thing with this is that the substrate stays fairly damp the whole time. If you let it dry out, obviously the eggs might dry out as well, and then they won't hatch. It's just as important not to waterlog the substrate as well. You don't want it soaking wet, otherwise you'll drown the eggs. So I just use the spray again just to mist all of the substrate every couple of days. You can normally check and feel if it feels just a little bit drier, just mist it a bit, and I'll mist the lid as well. I'll do a follow-up video when the nymphs hatch out. Hit subscribe to see videos that I do in the future, and I'll catch you in the next video.